Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be going through the best Krunker settings for low ping and a smooth experience in-game. Join my Discord server to find all of my Krunker settings and also find other resources related to modding, CSS, and content creation. First up, set your Krunker settings to advanced. If you're currently facing issues with ping and stability in-game, I would recommend resetting your entire settings and changing each option again one by one. I found out that certain settings really do affect the stability of a game, and resetting the settings to default allows you to remove all those settings and start from scratch, applying the best settings possible. Under General Settings, you can set your default region to the region closest to you. You can find out the region closest to you just by using Google Maps or the world map. Feel free to experiment with different regions, as sometimes regions that are further from you may actually give you better ping. Additionally, the Krunker ping number is not very accurate, and clients may have different ping values from the browser, but the ping number in-game is still a good indicator of how good or bad your ping is. The best case scenario is that you're living in your default region. I'm living in Singapore right now, and I set my default region to Singapore. This gives me really low ping, as you can see. 20 ping right now, and then 5 ping. However, if you're living in a country like the Philippines, they're not really close to any of these regions. The closest to you would be Singapore, but it's still pretty far away. So you should try setting Singapore as your default region, trying out the ping, then trying different regions like Tokyo, and seeing if your ping improves or deproves. Then, just use whatever region that is most stable for you, or has the lowest ping possible. Default region only sets a region to the region that is set on top here. There will not be other options in the server finder. These are all Singapore servers. Now, auto-routing here basically connects you to the nearest server possible. Use this setting if you do not want to troubleshoot the best server to use for lowest ping. You can try Krunker with this setting on and off, and use the setting that actually gives you the best ping. Legacy browser uses the old version of Chrome, and I don't think that this setting makes a difference, so I turn it off. Once again, you can try Krunker with the setting on and off, and just use the setting that gives you the best ping. Before delving into lag compensation, network rate is how often your data is sent to Krunker.io. 60 is normal, and anything above 60 is considered fast. So start with 60 and slowly go up 120, 144, 240 and then 360. Stop once you see instability like stutters and lags, then go back down by one notch. Too high a network rate might cause too much information to be sent to Krunker servers at once, causing buffering. That's where too many inputs are sent at once, resulting in the inputs not being sent to the server right away. However, if you do not find any buffering with a network rate like 360Hz, you should just use 360Hz, as it will give you the best network performance, possibly smoothing out your inputs and aim. You might see slight improvements in cursor input. Show network stats shows this. At the top left hand corner, it shows the packets and the data being sent and received. Now, let me explain lag compensation. So lag compensation basically makes the game smoother for those with high ping. It predicts and rewinds the game state, such that actions like shooting and movement appear more synchronized between players with different ping values. So how does lag compensation work in Krunker? First up, current set prediction. Let me just show you the script. So when you press the movement key like WASD to shoot, your game instantly updates your position and actions on the client side without waiting for the server's response. It basically shows your input on your screen immediately, preventing any feeling of input delay, making your movement and aim feel much more responsive. However, if you have a low ping, this really won't make a difference. Second, server reconciliation, which is rewinding. The Krunker servers keep a history of past enemy positions for a short period of time. Let's say you click to shoot. The Krunker servers take note of when you shoot the bullet in time. The server does not register the shot at the instant it receives it, since it will be delayed due to your ping. To account for this ping, the server rewinds time, using the history of past enemy positions to check whether your shot would have hit the enemy at the moment that you clicked and saw it. So it basically checks where the enemy was when you press the trigger on your screen. This means that even if a player with high ping fires, their shot is counted based on where the enemy was at the time of firing, and not where they currently are when the server processes a shot. This also means that if an enemy dodges on your screen after you shoot, Your bullet might still hit them if they were in the line of fire when you clicked. This is why high ping opponents can hit you when you're already behind cover, because the server rewinds your position in the server to where you were when they fired, which is when you were out in the open. Now there are some downsides to lag compensation. First up, picker's advantage. High ping players can abuse picker's advantage by seeing the low ping player first, before the low ping player sees them. High ping players can thus see low ping players on their screen, due to this rewinding of where the low ping player was due to lag compensation. Delayed deaths. If a low ping player moves behind cover before a high ping player shoots, they might still take damage or die, because on the high ping player screen, they hadn't actually reached cover yet. Thus, you may constantly die behind corners or after moving out of the way to high ping players due to lag compensation. Thirdly, inconsistent hit registration. If a player's ping fluctuates, their bullets may register late or not at all if the internet connection is unstable. This can lead to moments where the shots appear to land but don't do damage. Conversely, it can look like a shot should have hit, but due to lag compensation adjustments, it may just not register. At low lag compensation, the game does not rewind time, and the server only checks if your bullets hit the enemy in real time. At full lag compensation, the server fully rewinds enemy positions to match what you saw when you first fired your shot, compensating entirely for your ping, so your inputs feel immediate. However, values of lag compensation between 0 and 1 mean that the game applies a mix of real-time server positioning and some rewinding to match your ping. If you already have low ping, lag compensation can still be useful to you to give you some picker's advantage and also make hit registration feel really immediate. If you have high ping, you should absolutely use and abuse lag compensation to allow for picker's advantage, so you can kill players that have already taken cover. You'll feel like it's easier to hit targets and the game will be more responsive. Now, some other ways to decrease your ping. First up, to use Ethernet over Wi-Fi. If you're using Wi-Fi at home but have an Ethernet cable, I would recommend connecting your router to your PC via a physical Ethernet cable. This way, your ping can decrease from something like 20 milliseconds to 7 milliseconds. Now, what I'm about to say isn't really in your control, but if your home uses fiber optic Wi-Fi and your router is at least Wi-Fi 5, 6 or 7, your network speed and stability should be excellent. Also, if you're facing some instability, be sure to check if your Ethernet cable is plugged in properly and that your Ethernet cable is not faulty. Additionally, remember to plug the Ethernet cable into the correct port in your router. You can also configure your different Ethernet settings and update to the latest Ethernet drivers. Now I'm going to be teaching y'all how to get the most FPS possible in Krunker. I'm going to be using PC7 client for this tutorial, and this will allow me to go through the different PC7 client settings too. PC7 can give you more FPS, so definitely try that out. The link to download is in the description below. You can try out the performance settings and even the pro settings. This can give you the most FPS possible, but your game will really look quite bad. I'll be going through the custom settings today, so that you can find a balance between FPS and how good your game looks. First up, set your render resolution to 1 or even less than 1. Personally, setting the resolution to 1 and 2 don't make a huge difference, but a render resolution of 1 gives me much more FPS than a render resolution of 2. Turn off all of the graphic settings except anti-aliasing and shadows and soft shadows. This will allow your game to still look somewhat nice, like so, but not compromise on FPS. As you can see, I'm getting around 370 FPS, 360 FPS right now. However, if you really want the maximum amount of FPS possible, you can still turn off anti-aliasing, turn off shadows and soft shadows, and also turn on low spec, turn on no textures, and turn off map details. I have map details disabled already, so you can't really see some details like grass. Now I do want to touch on a setting called instance rendering. Sending repeated information from the CPU to GPU to render individual repeated models like grass in the game is not efficient. The significant lag time of sending information from the CPU to GPU can cause buffering and performance drops. It would be more efficient to give the GPU one command, like instance rendering, to render all the grass models at once in different positions, reducing the number of threads between the CPU and GPU, reducing buffering. However, this implementation of instance rendering in Krunker is not very good. it causes weird glitches in the game, and I would recommend you to turn it off. You can also use a mod like the Smooth Textures mod, or use a clean CSS like so. This may help you to improve your FPS by a little bit, but generally mods and CSS do not help you to improve your game's performance. Now, these are the PC7 settings that I use for maximum FPS. First up, I turn on unlimited FPS and set my angle backend to the most recent one, which is this. I use in-process GPU too. I turn on these three features. Turning on these can also help you improve your FPS. Alright, let me go through my computer settings. First up, reinstalling Windows is a good idea if you haven't reinstalled Windows in a long time. Different apps and updates can really slow down your PC, and reinstalling Windows will give you a fresh start. Remember to update all your drivers, including the graphics drivers. Update your BIOS, and also remember to enable XMP mode in your BIOS settings so that you're using your RAM at the maximum advertised speed. In NVIDIA control panel, you can just copy these settings. In graphics settings in your Windows computer, remember to set PC7 or whatever client you're using to high performance. Go to your power plan and set it to ultimate performance if you have this setting. If you do not have this setting, then set it to high performance. Remember to turn off Xbox Game Bar too. And you can also install WinToys to optimize your computer. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video. If you found it helpful, leave a like and subscribe. Leave any questions in the comments below, or join my Discord server to ask questions there, and I'll reply you there too. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.